Hey there, folks. Daniel Fritter with Calvert Magazine doing a bit of an unexpected C21 update for Tuesday, May 23rd. Nothing has happened on C21. The House is not sitting this week, so if you're wondering why I'm here talking to you about it, it's because of David Johnston's report. As we know now, that report was tabled today. He announced that there will not be, or he is not recommending a public inquiry. That does not mean the government won't hold one. Justin Trudeau is still more than entitled to announce that he's going to hold an inquiry of his own volition. That's probably pretty unlikely. But what I want to draw people's attention to is that yesterday we heard from Aaron O'Toole that his involvement in this report occurred basically in the latter stages, that he was only consulted when the report was already with government translators, meaning the report was written and being translated into French when the author of the report first met with the leader who was most greatly impacted by these allegations reportedly. So not only does that make this report something of a farce, but more importantly for gun owners, I think it's important to recognize that he met with Aaron O'Toole right around the same time the government would have had to start drafting their motion to accelerate Bill C21 through SECU and through the House of Commons. That motion that we discussed previously that limited debate and sought to pass Bill C21 very expeditiously, that motion would have come up right around the beginning of May as something the government would be working on, which is right when David Johnston's report, we now know, was in translation. So when you add up some of the coincidences here, or not coincidences, I shouldn't say, because that's a bit prejudicial, but when you consider that the government would have had to work on that motion around the same time as David Johnston's report was completed and being translated, there's one of the more coincidental alignments. The second one being obviously that C21 just passed the House last week, and now we learn on Tuesday, literally days later, that we're not going to have an inquiry, and this is raising questions of confidence motions and instability in the government. And when I say a lack of confidence in government, I don't mean a technical no confidence, but I mean a very real lack of confidence by both Joe taxpayer as well as, I'm assuming, many of the caucus members of the Liberals and the NDP, because they're Canadians too. They can't be impervious to the normal train of thought around this stuff. So it does seem like potentially the Liberal Party decided to hit the gas pedal and make sure Bill C21 passed the House of Commons before David Johnston's report came out. There are numerous reasons they could be doing that. Obviously, one of them is that if they expect that this report could lead to a no-confidence motion, they may seek to prorogue government, which would leave C21 parked until the fall, meaning if they're expecting a fall election or they're planning for one, they wouldn't be able to campaign on the notion that they had put, as we've seen the minister say, the largest gun control act in a generation. Sorry, I'll just rephrase that. The largest gun control act in basically a generation passed the House. They would not have been able to make that claim if it hadn't been so. So I think there's maybe an indication for gun owners here that the government is going to prorogue soon or expects to need to prorogue potentially. That may come if they start thinking that the Conservatives or the NDP are going to table a confidence motion. Obviously, if the Conservatives table one, it would depend on how the NDP voted. But if the Conservatives table a confidence motion, it would force the NDP to go on record as to whether or not they support the government stance on this of not having an inquiry, or whether they support the CPC stance of having a public inquiry. So it would force their hand in a way that would probably make the government quite uncomfortable, given they have a confidence and supply agreement with the NDP, and that agreement has to work both ways or it ceases to function. So it'll be very interesting. For that reason, I suspect that you'll probably be seeing a little bit more of me in the coming weeks, because this stuff does have ramifications for Bill C21 that is currently before the Senate and being scheduled for its second reading on May 30th. So we'll keep doing these video updates. I'm really enjoying them. I hope you all had a fantastic Victoria Day weekend. Don't get too wound up by all this stuff. If you find yourself getting wound up, again, as I've talked about, your mental health is the most important thing. Take a step back, go outside. Maybe go to the range, shoot a gun, and relax. All this stuff is moving relatively slowly. I expect the next few weeks will be a bit turbulent, but there will be months down the road where this is all just a memory. So if you're finding it too much, just calm down. But I will try and keep you guys updated as best I can. Look after yourselves. As I always say, try and support your local animal shelters. I know here in Kelowna, because of some of the economic things, animal shelters are suffering a bit, trying to keep animals fed. So if you want to support something, that's a great effort. And I will see you guys the next time they do something that makes me do a video. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.